times with Joshua, so I spent a lot of time in the library. It's like my bad game. I don't read books. Anyway, like here, I'm going to show you something that God will show me. These books, you think they're all strategically planned. God knows what book I'm going to come in and look at. He sends me messages, right? So I'm sitting right here. I'm sitting right here, and I look over, and the book that there's a couple other books that led me. I look over, and here's this book right here. Visionary Life of Paul Tarsus. And you think it'd be like, oh, because God's telling you to be Paul. No, the first thing I started, because I couldn't see Tarsus, I could just see the TA, the Tar Heels, North Carolina. I'm like, why are you talking about North Carolina, Paul? And it's like Tarsus. And I was like, Tarsus, where's Tarsus at? Tarsus is in Turkey. Tarsus in Turkey. The Jews never went to Turkey. They went to Egypt. They went to Babylon. Why would there be Jews in Turkey? Why would Paul come down? Why would Paul? They went to exile in Babylon and then they get brought back, and he's supposedly in Israel, but he's from Turkey? How'd that happen? And that led to that. For real. Why would there be any Jews in Turkey? Why would there be any Jews in Asia Minor during during Paul anyway? They didn't leave. They went to Babylon. They get released. They build the second temple. The temple's still there. They're not going to leave the promised land. They get taken to Egypt. Then they come back. They don't go. See, they get taken. Let me explain to you how it worked. So Abraham comes, but Judaism wasn't established yet. Then Moses, which means to draw out, because he's going to draw the Jews out. There's a couple different meanings. He's going to drawn out of water. He's drawn out of water, but he's going to draw the Jews out. That's why his name's Moses. Anyway, you'd think I was Joshua's son of Nun or something. Son of Nun, which means fish. Anyway, so he goes, the Jews, right? They're Israel kind of, yeah, Jacob, whatever, but until Moses goes and brings them out of Egypt. Judaism, God hasn't taken ownership of the people. That's when he takes actual ownership. It's during Exodus. Right? Of course, another video.
You singing?
I was. See, I'm telling you, watch my videos. I'm going to have to clip this together because I had to stop the video. It doesn't matter where I'm at. Since I started making a video, someone shows up. You see that? They just showed up there. There was nobody even around. Nobody should even come back there. I'm like in the back of the library. God does that. That's how I know. But anyway, so when he goes up on and brings down the Ten Commandments, that's when Judaism's born. Right? And then they go directly to the promised land. Then they're in the promised land. Right? Then, when Israel gets broken apart and taken to Babylon, they might have gone back into Africa. They don't go up to Turkey. They get taken to Babylon, Persia. Right? And then they get released and the temple gets rebuilt and they stay right there. They don't go to Turkey. Why are there any Jews in Asia Minor? Why would Paul even be from Turkey? Anyway.